This is the last podcast in this series. I wish to conclude on a positive note, so that after the previous one on death, this one is about life. You are alive. You are obviously conscious and present in your existence. You grew from a single cell into a human thinking being. All we consider to be alive grows from a cell, whether an egg or a grain. Considering this tiny thing growing into a being like a flower, a tree, a fish, a wolf, an eagle, or a human, we must admit we are witnessing a miracle of immense beauty. Yes, we have to wonder how this one single cell, usually but not always brought forth through the combination of demi cells emerging from beings of opposite gender, how it can develop into such a complex new being of the species. In animals, such as humans, this one cell develops not only by dividing and multiplying, but also by specialization into a wide variety of cells of every different function. They find their way in the developing body, assemble into organs and structures, all necessary for the right function of the new being. Being born, the new body is usually perfect and ready for life. Not only so physically, but also mentally. Watching a human baby or a canine puppet, we immediately observe its effort to reach into life in accordance with the specifications of its species. Both the baby and the puppet already know they are human or wolf. How this magic? How is it possible? Material biology will immediately direct your attention to the DNA that lies hidden inside every cell, except the red blood plates. They will tell you that there are genes on this string that switch on and off in the process of building your body, and even may cause malfunctions or illnesses at birth or at any time through life. The DNA is a 2-meter-long molecular string that is curled up inside every cell. In the human, the genetic code consists of 46 chromosomes, yet it is quite amazing that this entire string is composed of only 4 building blocks, the chemical components that I mentioned in an earlier podcast: adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. This genetic code is capable of carrying over characteristics from the parent to the progeny. It is a fact on which geneticists base their work, and they have proven the validity of it even by mapping the entire genetic code. Biologically, they are very right. I do not in any way oppose the geneticists and their amazing work and discoveries. I just take it one step further. We all know that the mixing of 2 different chemicals will result in the same reaction every time. The mix will unfailingly boil, burn, explode, or produce a specific third condition. The development of a living being differs from this by its slow, patterned, targeted process. How does the first cell know how to follow this pattern? In an earlier podcast, I tried to explain how consciousness materializes into those fleeting, elusive, almost unobservable quantum particles. Those particles are at the root of all we observe as matter and living organisms. Thus, as my theory goes, consciousness resides in the deepest levels of all matter, and consequently decides the function of those particles and the combination of some of them into atoms, molecules, and higher material structures. Consciousness produces both the particles and the patterns of structure they build. Consciousness as will and fragmentary wills to be on every level of existence lies behind the express presence of everything material in the world we know, and in the cosmos as a whole, seen or unseen by us. The cell divisions, the structure of the stages of the fertile development, and even the continuous development through a possibly long life, into old age, follows a pattern incorporated in the genes and transcribed and as a transcribed form, the fragment of consciousness under development and growth. It is willed. Consciousness actually produces the patterns of material development and manifestation. This may seem to be a repetition of Plato's ideas, but it is very different. There is in my thought no division, no duality of idea or object. I consider the oneness of an all-pervasive consciousness present in absolutely everything. Thus, every being born into this world is an extension of cosmic consciousness into the material field of existence, seemingly separate, yet only a ripple on the surface of the unlimited ocean of consciousness. I entitled this present podcast Alive, hinting not only at the fact that you and I obviously are alive, but also at the aliveness of all there is. The stone along your path, the earth in the ground you walk on, the grass, the flowers and the trees that surround you, the water in the river below, as well as the fish swimming there, the ants and the wasps, the serpents and the deer in the wood, and the birds in the sky above, are all alive, intricately connected. There are communication networks with no need for technology, ensuring the entire ecological balance through an innate knowledge of every species of their natural role. There is an overarching consciousness they tap into. This overarching consciousness is life, is limitless and eternal being. You and I are alive because we are part of it. We cannot even disconnect from it, unplug ourselves, so to say. And that is why there is no death. The all, the cosmos, the universe, and all there is therein is alive. Though you may say that the sun or any star cannot be alive, it is just an immense nuclear fusion reactor producing light and heat, making life on our tiny planet possible. Indeed, this is what astronomy and physics contend. There is, however, a strict limitation to seeing it in this materialistic way. If you should consider man, or even your cat or dog in this way, you would say they are automobile, heat-generating structures of some chemical complexity. I am quite sure you would object to such a view. You, your cat or dog, are obviously not mechanisms even in a Cartesian sense. Then what about the Earth, our planet, the other planets, the stars? Considering matter as fully incorporated consciousness, it leaves out the existence of dead matter. And what is built by matter, therefore, must be alive and conscious. It is only a question of what kind of consciousness. Why do you believe human consciousness is superior to other kinds of consciousness? Is it possibly because we observe in animal or insect life something that seems to be simpler than the consciousness expressed by humans? We should be careful about such judgments, for there is a deep intelligence in how those animals and insects interact to understand the world. It goes beyond what we are able to express in terms of words, for it is not limited by terminology. The more I move into these matters, the more I understand how deep and alive is consciousness. There is no bottom, no ceiling. The reach is eternal. It encompasses life and beings in the physically immaterial. Immersing yourself into the spheres of consciousness, you become more alive than ever. And you will meet beings of an aliveness that is far beyond the human. And you will learn beyond human capacity. you will come to know the place of the human integrated stream. I know that I am walking on deep waters presenting my thoughts and theories the way I do, but I build on personal experience, on deep dives into the spheres of consciousness, as well as on recognized science and philosophy. In that sense, I do not stand entirely alone. In a recent article, I read that the philosopher Philip Goff considers the meaning of the universe is to prepare for the development of sensing beings with intelligence and capacity for subjective experience. He considered the universe as a conscious mind. Personally, I may agree with him in this, but I would take it further, stating that the cosmos, being more than the universe we observe, is itself alive and conscious. It is being with will. It is sensitive and reflective because it owns all the sentient conscious beings willed into existence on every level, visible and not. All living, sentient and intelligent beings are a piece and parcel fully integrated in the cosmic. That is exactly what it is to be alive.